How about I need a chair. Wait. The light. Should I start going live?
People already watching.
How do I change this on?
Alright, are we testing?
How do you turn this on?
Should be.
Mommy, how do you turn it on?
Because it has to be plugged to the computer, and the computer will be charged to the wall. Okay, plug the computer to the wall.
So which one do
Just
I
remove the one below. Okay. Can you do that quickly? Turn it on. Okay, I think people are live already. Yay!
Yeah, Eddie's on.
Does it matter how
Dawn's
high I put
on.
it?
Alright.
Does it
Is
matter?
the angle properly positioned? Or
Does it matter how high the
It doesn't matter.
it's like exactly
Do it high. So. Hi everyone, can you hear us? Let's see if we can hear us. Are we too far? Looks like we're a little bit too far.
No, it's good. It's like the outside's right there.
Sorry. Loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aditoro. All right. Okay.
Wait, Mom, are Grandma and Grandpa
All right.
coming?
Yeah.
They're coming?
Yes. Okay. So we're live. Wow. This is really exciting. All right. So I think we should cut to the chase and start. Hi, everyone. As the new slogan I'll be using for our viewers, People of Purpose. Hi, People of Purpose. Thanks so much for joining us on this first episode of Purpose Talks. I'm so happy to finally have this forum. And just to go straight to the point for today, I always had a burden to share purpose, and this all started many years from today, where I was seeking clarity in purpose, and in the process, the burden came to share purpose with others. And I've always thought of, how, and again, we all learn purpose together anyway. So it's not, so this forum is not a one-way forum. It's a forum where we all share. And I'm going to be inviting close friends of mine who will be sharing also with us. So I'm so happy that we had the first episode today. And again, for people that don't know my name is Fumi Ogosulore. And sitting next to me is a very, very close friend, a big sister of my sister Gladys Oshopison.
Hi.
And it was recent chats. We were able to in recent chats, I after discussing just for a few times, I just realized that I had to bring her in for our first forum. So I'm so glad, I'm so happy to have Sister Gladys or shopping song with us. I know I can't take that, sister.
Yeah, I've been threatening her.
I know she's been threatening me to cut out the sister. I'm like, all right. So yes, and today's topic is really about knowing purpose. I know this is always going to be a question in everybody's mind. You know, how do I fulfill purpose? Because we all know that we are created for purpose, and a lot of times we just don't know what the exact purpose is. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of throw out there as the first discussion for purpose is to identify our purpose. How do we identify our purpose? I know that it's not always that straightforward, but one thing I've realized is that our purpose is coded into our DNA. It's coded in who we are. And once we identify purpose, everything else just disappears. It becomes, I'll call it, everything becomes of less importance, and it doesn't bother you. I was thinking about, you know, people in the Bible that you know, about how they fulfilled purpose. And the story that comes to mind is the story of Jesus. And of course, no better example than the story of Jesus. How he identified purpose, and how he knew he knew his purpose. I remember when at the age of 12, when they went to the temple, and I think the parents left and they were looking for him. And at that point, when they finally found him, they were like, "Don't you care that we've been looking for you?" I'm going to paraphrase. And he said, "Why are you looking for me? I'm in my Father's house." He knew his purpose. So, and since then, I just realized one thing about people that know purpose. When you know your purpose, nothing anybody says, "Oh, who?" Now, don't tell. I'm sure Jesus was not teaching us there to disrespect our parents, because he was like, "Why are you looking for me?" But he knew it wasn't his purpose. So, and there are so many other stories. Look at the story of the marriage of Cana. And it was like, "Woman, what about that?" Is his mom. But he identified his purpose. So I think it's a big thing for we as individuals, as Christians, to identify our purpose. And I'm just going to go with a little story about myself, how I identified at least one part of my purpose. So growing up, I've encountered, close to death in 2 occasions in my young life. I remember the first one was when I was before the age of 10. I had typhoid fever. I will never forget that sickness. I think I was crossing, but thank God I survived that. But the one that really resonates was, I think it was in 1998, when armed robbers came to our house in Surulere. And of course, you know, when they come in, they shove you all into one room, lie down. And after a while, you know, like, okay, maybe they left. I got up. And when I got up, at that point, I was like, okay, should we go and check to see if they're still around? Then somebody comes in. One of the armed robbers comes in with a point facing my head right there. And at that point, the first thing that came to me was not fair, was not to lie down. I spoke a word. I said, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." And I mean, this is in the face of a gun pointed at me. At that moment, one of the other robbers gave me a chokehold, and of course my mom, you know, wisdom, slapped me. I was like, what are you doing? Still go down. But every time I remember that, I just realized that my purpose, or what is coded in me, is speaking out for rights. I felt like, I always went to a Bible believing church then, and it was about speaking the word. I knew nothing then but just to speaking for rights, and I knew that was one of the things that God has coded into my DNA as a purpose for me. And then when we talk about speaking for rights, we're like, okay, what kind of rights? And another thing came to me. When I'm watching 2 games, I'm always rooting for the underdog, except it's a country like Nigeria playing, and they always suck. Or the Mets, or the Jets, unfortunately. But naturally, if I don't know the two players, I'm rooting for the underdog when I get their story. So at that point, I realized that I not only am I wired to speak for rights, but speak for people that are underdogs, people that are crying for for a voice.
Yeah.
So that was how I kind of found my purpose. So we as individuals, I'm not going to go into too much, story, because we have a very short time. But I know that there are many ways we can identify our purpose, and it's really ingrained in who we are. So I'm not going to go into too much details. I'm going to hand over to Sister Gladys very soon, just to give us, share purpose with us, because every time when both of us talk, I'm like, oh man, you got to talk about this. You got to share this out loud to people. So, and that's a little introduction, from me on how I identified purpose, and that's one part, because I realized that we have many other purposes in life. I mean, that is ingrained into our DNA. That's one aspect. So, God will help us, and I think that. Let me stop talking.
All right. So thank you for joining. I'm so excited that Fumi asked me to do this. Facebook Live. People think, oh, she needs worship, so live things don't scare her. Let me tell you. I think this is one of the things that I never thought I would conquer. But here we are. So I think that when you talk about purpose, if the mistake that a lot of us make is we let society define purpose for us. So I'm going to use the typical Naija example. You're a girl. They tell you the age when you're supposed to get married. Okay, so at 25 you should be rounding up and going to your husband's house. After you get married, then they're looking, oh, so when are the kids going to start coming? When are the kids going to start coming? So we let that define us. So, and then, but purpose makes you thirsty. It makes you're not satisfied. It's like you're thirsty, you're drinking water, but it's not filling the thirst. So you keep trying to look for, okay, maybe if I put more ice in the water, maybe it will quench it. Maybe if I do iced coffee, maybe it will quench it. Maybe if I eat rice, stop eating white rice, make it jollof. Okay, put shrimps in it. So you're putting more. So in my case, I thought it was education. The more I got, if I get it to where my mother never went to college. So my thing was, if I go to college, guess what? I got the first degree. I felt it was still empty. Then I got the second one, and it was like, okay, what are we doing?
Where does it stop?
When does it stop? When do I keep acquiring these things that don't really quench my thirst? So the one thing that I knew without doubt was worship. I mean, and it wasn't about me just worshiping by myself. It was about, there is something about the presence of God that you have discovered that you have to introduce to people. So it went from, oh, we're just singing. We take the book and we're just singing. No, there is something else. The words in the song have to jump. If they're not jumping at you, they're not making you think about this God, then it's noise. So, and from a young age, my father, I always say that my mother gave me a love for books, but my father gave me a love for music. He can't sing to save his life, but he gave me a love for music. So music was always ingrained. It was always there. So when I joined the choir for my church in in Christ Chapel at that time, I joined the choir. Yeah, it was there, but it was routine. Yeah, you go for choir practice, and then we came to the country, and it was the same thing. So you're packing in. Oh, Saturday you have to go for choir practice. Sundays church. Tuesdays Bible study, and there was no growth. The one thing that if you take nothing out of my talk today, take the fact that purpose will always follow vision. God will put something in you. He will put that dream in you, and where you are. That you always hear them say, grow where you're planted. Where you are is very important with your purpose. If you are on bad soil, you're not going to grow. If you're on dry soil, it needs to be watered. So in order for it to be watered, you have to be around the right set of people. So in my case, And that means sometimes that you may need to move. Purpose works with movement. You can't be stagnant and get to your purpose. One thing that after our last conversation the other night, when it was Thursday,
Thursday night.
I was thinking, something popped into my head that perfection, we hear perfection. I want this perfect. Do you know that perfection starts from imperfect? Perfection starts from imperfection. So this thing, I'm trying to do something, I need all these resources to do it. Even my first draft is not perfect, but I made moves to get there, right? We say we want to do things, but we're not moving. We're not doing things that will get us there. So let me go back to my worship story. So I always knew worship. If you wake me up at 4:30 a.m. and you say, God is going to lead worship, the song will come. I don't need to be looking for keys. I don't need to be looking for what song I want to sing. And so it just began to gel. And now in 2013, I just had this, I had this hunger, like, so we lead worship. So is that it? You come to church, you lead worship, and then you do special, and you solo a song. Is that it? Is that it? That can't be it. There has to be something else. And then it was then I began to seek God, like, just God, what your presence. I think that was when this song was really out. Your presence is heaven to me, and it was like, Israel hurting. He's saying your presence is heaven to me. I want to feel this thing. What is this? Your presence? I want to feel it. I want to. So I began to I was reading, and I was beginning to discover. So the other thing with purpose is you have to find people that are already where you want to be. So I knew that the presence of God was going to be big with worship for me. But how can you sell something you don't have? Yes, they're coming up and they're saying, oh, you have a beautiful voice, but that's not it. It's not about that. There are lives. There are people. When the Bible talks about David playing the harp and you know, the demons were living. They were leaving. So if my thing was, okay, I don't think that I'm different from David. David just used instruments. He may have sung too, who knows? David used instruments. I have my voice, and there's something in there that God has put in there. So God, where this that you're putting here, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but this has to come out. So I began to YouTube became my best friend. I began to discover just other styles of worship and how people were growing, and I discovered Miranda Curtis, Benita Washington, and I found that the more that I grew in that, the more God brought me around people who were beginning to sense what God was doing, even though I hadn't seen it. They were beginning to sense it, and they would pray, and they would just speak words over me. And in 2015, I was rounding up my MBA, and it was like, what's the next step? I can't. This MBA is done now. Before the MBA was done, do you know that I was already getting bored again? And I was trying to see, okay, what am I going to fill my time with? What am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? So 2015, I just decided, okay, first I changed my job. I had been on the job, it was full-time, had benefits, had all of it. So I had to conquer the fear of, if you become a consultant, how are you going to pay for your insurance? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? I said, no more. No more. No fear. Just put out the interview. Just put out your resume. I got a job with NYU. And after that, I just honed in on, for me, worship was I don't want to use the word craft, but it was something I knew that I had to evolve, because now I was beginning to see God more. I was going deeper. It's like you're opening a room, and every time I led worship, there was one step deeper, one step deeper, one step deeper, and the word was beginning to come alive, and the words in the song was beginning to come alive. I would sing a song that I sang so many times, and the words would instantly connect. And when I led worship, I found myself telling people, you cannot get stuck on the rhythm of the song. You cannot get stuck on how slow or how fast. You should be stuck on the words of the song. Let the words come alive. And when they come alive, then you know your worship changes. And I began to do that. Started to happen. Began to affect, and I began to see worship culture in Agape change. Was beginning to evolve, and our services was becoming. Before even Pastor came to preach, God was already moving. Was like, oh my God, like, what are we? This okay. I stopped and I said, okay, God, where are we going? Where are we going? So people that always ask me about, oh, when are you going to do a CD? We want to see, and it wasn't there. The passion wasn't there, and it wasn't there because I had not identified what God had put these 5 stones in my hands to do. What is it for? I had not identified it, and until you identify it, whatever thing you're supposed to do with that purpose is going to be stagnant. It's going to stay without, because you don't know what to do with it, right? So even if I do a CD, then what?
Exactly.
What is the purpose of the CD? What is the motivation behind the CD? You want to make money? Is that it? So I just, so Honor Man, oh my God, Honor Man Worry.
Mr. O.
He calls me for to do backups for people that he produces once in a while. And he called me to his studio and he was like, what's going on? So I said, you called me to come? I said, yeah, we're done. We finished recording. And he was like, where's your song? I said, oh, you know what? I have a song. So we played around and Yahweh. So I produced Yahweh. He produced Yahweh in 2016. And then the fear came. So you produced a song now. So what?
What's next?
Who wants to hear it? Who wants to hear that song? What do you think you're doing? Fear will paralyze you to the point where you overanalyze everything. You move left when you think you should have gone right, and you will overanalyze. You really should have gone left, not right. Do you? And so we let that. I just let that fester. I also started a blog in that 2016, and fear again. Who wants to hear what you want to say? Because I never connected it to worship. I never connected a CD to worship. I never connected a blog to worship. I thought that worship was just music, but it's not. It's all round. It's all round. So 2016, nope, nobody wants to hear me. So 2016 through 2018, I just concentrated on, I want to discover the power of worship. And my prayer at one point was, Father, every time that I lead worship, I want an encounter with you, me. Because you can't give what you don't have. If I'm telling you can have an encounter, but I don't know what that encounter is, what it entails, or what it is, or what it feels like. What it feels like to just stand in the presence of God and feel like someone was hugging you. Just feel like God put out his hand and I put my hand. If I never feel that, how am I going to tell you what it is? So I spent those years I just wanted to encounter God and worship. Then my prayer changed to where the Holy Spirit was asking me, what do you want to see in service today? What do you want to see happen in service today? So then that's when things started to just evolve and just evolve and just evolve. And around that time I found that God put people, he began to put the same thing, the vision of what I could be, of my purpose. He began to give it to show people. And they would come and they would give me side looks like, God is telling you to do this. What are you doing? Then things that I already knew, I would be surfing IG or Facebook and someone would be talking about it. And one day I was like, why? God already told me this. And you know what the Holy Spirit told me? Yeah, I told you, but you did nothing with it.
That's good.
I told you did nothing with it. So that was when I said, okay, we're going to have to redo this strategy thing. This is not about fear. So one of the first things that I also had to look at was, a lot of times we think, oh, I'm being humble. Oh, humility. Sometimes you're masking timidity by saying that you're humble. You're masking fear because you don't want to step out. You don't want to step out. You don't want people to, oh, I don't want to call attention to myself. Let somebody else do it. No. God is saying, you come out there. I have prepared a table before you. You need to eat. Nobody's going to bring a spoon and scoop up the food and put it in your mouth. You need to do that for yourself. God opens the door. You need to step through it.
Yep.
You get up and you make the movement. That's why I said purpose works with movement. You need to get up. You need to get up. God said, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. Okay. Don't stay in one spot. Like the man at the pool of Bethesda. What was that thing?
Yes.
Looking for...
Waiting for someone to push him into the pool.
Push him into the pool. You have to...
No, actually, he was waiting for the angel to... No, when he stares...
Someone was waiting for to stir the water. Somebody was push him in. That's not how it works. God is going to... When God says, I will make it available, He will make it available. But guess what, sis? You need to make a move.
Yes.
You don't make a move, you're going to stand there, stagnant. And until you make that move, nothing will happen. So, God was putting people around me. He was putting people around me that were just saying things that there were people that were prophesying. They would see things like during service. I would lead worship. A particular lady, she would see things that I saw during worship, and I would be shaking when she was telling me. And that's when I knew, my God, okay, something, God, I don't know what you're doing. So it got to the point where on Sundays before I led, it was, okay, God, I have prepared, I have prayed, but whatever you want to do, just do it. Just do it. So do you know that now at Agape, it's supposed to be 25 minutes for worship, but there are Sundays we extend. Because even leadership now knows, listen, it's 25 minutes, but if the Holy Spirit is moving at the 24.99 minute, you better not stop the move of God. Because you stop the move of God at that point, somebody who's suicidal goes back home with the suicidal thought. They're supposed to be coming into the presence of God and dropping baggage, not lugging it back home. So that's the other thing, that worship for me, how I worship and how I lead and how I allow the Holy Spirit to just take control may mean somebody gets to leave. Because they're not going home. Let them break down in the presence of God and let God just do what He needs to do. Let Him do the surgery that He needs to do. Let Him do the opening. Somebody just needs to hear, fear not. But if you're not in tune and you're ending service just as God is about to say, fear not, what happens? They're going home with their fear. They're going home with their fear. So 2018 comes. I was Toby. There's a concert on July 14th. He calls me up with, well, I need you to do backup. We're doing backup. I end up featuring in one of his songs. And a little brother, I call him a little brother, he was in the back of the hall and he sent someone to come call me. So I went over, I thought there was something wrong. So he calls me Auntie G. He says, Auntie G, you're doing this next year. And I'm like, doing what? He says, look at this hall. Look at this hall. This is you. This is what you need to be doing. People need to hear victory. And you need to step up. And I just laughed it off. Like, what is he talking about? So, February, someone I had met in 2016 at Onome's concert. I didn't speak a word to him. But he calls me up, they're having a concert, they want me to feature. I'm like, I've never even spoken to you. See, that's the thing with purpose also. God will put people in places, strategic, in places, and they will notice you. They will not say a word to you until it is time. It's almost like God saying, take note of that girl. Take note of that boy. Maybe what he needs to do is not right there. It's not a month from there. I met him in 2016. This is 2019. When he will connect you and you don't even know what the connection is going to bring.
It's so funny that you say this. It reminds me of the life of Moses. He struggled. Look, so first of all, God saved him for a purpose.
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to kill all the kids
Yeah.
then. He saved him. Not only that, God made him live in the house of the enemy.
Well fed.
Well fed. And the day he realized who he was,
He had to move, and even that was a threat to
him.
to his life, because he had realized that if he continued to stay, they may have killed him.
Yes.
That may have never been in Moses.
Exactly. It
Right?
became, and the thing I noticed from what you're saying is, then it became unrestless. It became restless from that moment on.
Exactly. Right. That's the thing. If you're not walking, when you discover this is what I'm supposed to be doing, restlessness starts. Because you cannot. There's too much that God has put it in you that you cannot just be quiet. You can't be silent. You want to just pour it out. The other thing is there's an effortlessness on how you do what you do. There's no struggle. There's no struggle. The struggle is when you don't submit to, okay, now I know my purpose. Now I'm making moves on how to get to it. But if you know it and you now stay quiet, is where the restlessness comes. Because you keep piling, you're getting more, but then you're not putting out. As you get more, you're supposed
You're
to.
ready to. Yes.
As you get more,
you should pour it out.
You should be pouring out.
Or else you
you should be pouring out on people. You should be pouring out on people. Every time quiet practice. Now, when I get a chance to take quiet practice, I have what I call 5 minutes of teachable moments. It's for people who are already leading worship and who may aspire to lead worship. So I find like you say, there is a that desire to just speak and to just teach on it, because you discover that you have a wealth of knowledge that you should be sharing, and because you haven't shared now, you're hearing it from everyone, and it's like, and just because they're saying it, but somebody's going to get something from them. But when you say it, somebody will get it. It's the same thing you're saying, but what they get out of it may be different. And because everybody's at a different season in their lives, we're not always all going to get the same thing at the same time.
Yes.
When I speak to you, what I get from you will be different from what Eddie, when we speak, what we're going to hear from it. The important point is, fear, you have to, and I talk to myself. One of the things that I say, as soon as I identify that humility is not timidity.
That's a big one.
My humility was really fear. I didn't want to call attention to myself because I didn't want to fail. I don't want to fail. What if I do the CD and it fails? What if I do the CD and it doesn't sell? Guess what? If you produce a CD, you gotta promote it.
Exactly. Oh, that reminds me of something I heard yesterday.
If God puts something in you that needs to go out to the people, how are the people gonna hear it?
Yeah.
You have to put it out. You have to be willing to make the move, to take the steps that's needed for this thing to be used and to be used appropriately. So if you're standing there, you'll say, "Oh, I don't want to put attention to myself." Guess what? You have a gifting that's basically useless because you're not using it the way that you should use it.
It's funny that
you know. So that was part of the reason. As soon as I was able to say, okay, this is not humility, Gladys. This is timidity. This is fear. And until you get rid of this, you are not moving anywhere. As soon as I did that, one day I was in front of the mirror getting ready to go out, and that thought came to my head. This blog you're about to start, what if you fail? What if no one reads it? I didn't blink an eye. I just said immediately, I said, what if it works?
Exactly. What if it works?
What if it succeeds? Then what? What if it fails though? What if it fails? Find out why it failed
and move on. Next step.
Move on to the next step.
Yes. Yes.
But what if it succeeds? It's the same thing. What if it succeeds? What did I do to make this succeed? Do times 10.
Times 10. Exactly.
And you move on to the next step.
Exactly.
And you're good to go. But we stop. I think it was one of the IG, those questions you asked on IG, where I was saying that we get stuck on hesitation avenue, or we can't move. We can't move because then our
Fear of failure.
The failure. The first thing is the fear of that failure, and then we're looking, and everybody around us is winning, and they're moving because yes, they're failing, but they tell you they failed. No, they tell you how long
It took them
the
to get
draft. How long do you know? Now, if I had listened to the fear that I had when I was starting the blog again, I just said, okay, look, February 1st, I'm coming back. And I started to write, and every time
Tell me the Malawi story
so
on the blog.
I don't even remember what and this is to buttress my point about don't allow fear to stop you. Just even if it comes, the thoughts are going to come, but you don't have to accept it. You don't have to allow it, and you can throw your answer back at the thing. In my case, I said, what if it works? Like, what if it succeeds? Then what at that point? So I just was like, okay, we're not gonna do this. So that particular day, I was rushing. I do sick.
Yes.
Your blood pressure is off the roof. You can't eat. You're losing weight, or you're gaining weight.
Gaining weight, maybe.
That's it for other people. So I called her. She calls me. I was on the train. She calls me, and she texted me first. She said, pray for me. I said, okay. So I just prayed.
This was all the way from Malawi.
Malawi, and then she called me and she was crying. I was so scared because I thought they had called that someone died, or she was so scared. But by the time I was able to calm her down, she was having panic attacks. And it was the blog that just made her break down, like, wow, God sees me. I'm all the way in Malawi by myself, but God sees me. God knows that I'm here. What if I didn't write that blog that day, that blog post, or I didn't post that day? What if I didn't do that? And I'm thinking, oh my God. I said, Gladys, your blog saves life. Because you have to realize God has put something in you, whether it is teaching youth, whether it is preaching, whether it is teaching the children. There is something that God, he's just, there's somebody he's trying to reach. At every point in time, I go into leading worship with, there are people that are coming into this church today that are looking for God to just touch them. There are things they're never going to be able to say to us. There are things they can't even pray about. But when you begin to worship, they don't even have to say. That's the power of being in the presence of God. You don't even have to be singing. You can just be there, because there are some things that are so heavy that you can't even. I've been in worship sessions where I just keep quiet because I don't know. I can't find words, and all I'm doing is just crying. I'm just crying, and I'm hearing the person is leading, and they're just singing, they're just praising God. I just feel like a hand, like someone's hugging me and telling me it's okay. Or I've been in worship sessions where somebody's just standing there. I open my eyes and I feel God, the Holy Spirit telling me, go in this aisle, go in this direction. I go there, I hug the person, and the person just starts crying. Or I say something which I don't even remember. They'll walk up to me and say, oh, Sister Gladys, you don't know what you said. What that word you said? I'm like, what word? Because I don't know what I said. It was in the moment. If you don't if you don't build that relationship with the Holy Spirit to the point where He can drop a word to you and you speak that word and chains are instantly broken. You may not remember. I don't remember half of the things that I say during worship.
I think one of the things that I take from what you're saying is that once you identify purpose, you have to work in it.
You walk in
You
it
have to practice
and
it.
you develop.
Yeah, you have to develop. You have to do your research, because
Things happen.
it's not it. So we're talking about coding, your purpose being coded in your DNA. I keep using that word. I read that thing somewhere. It was just kind of an eye opener. How we are made. I remember way back 20 years ago when we were doing praise and worship. I knew from there and then that you were worship was coded in you. For me, I'm the praise type, you know, but I'm like, you know, when it comes to worship, I know to hand it over to you. You just know, because sometimes you just have to identify what is that passion. What is-
Exactly. Worship, a purpose works with passion. It is not your career. It's not your career. Career is education. You're building up. I want to be managing director, blah, blah, blah. That's it. After that, that's where the restlessness comes from. That's where the hunger comes from. That's where the never-ending thirst comes from. It is not, oh, you're a woman, you get married, you have children,
Starts off
they
school.
go to college. Then what? That's
Then
the
what?
problem.
After
Then
that, empty
then
nester.
empty
What next?
nester. Then what?
What next?
Then what? Purpose goes, it continues. It goes, because it never goes out of season.
Yes.
And we're supposed to be going higher and higher and higher in it. So now you have the blog. Then what's gonna happen? Which other way? Then you begin to think, which other way can I reach people out there? There's YouTube channels. There's live. There's Facebook Live. There is, and it's not about being, oh, I want to be relevant, so I gotta be on Facebook Live every day. No. It's about knowing what it is that God has put this in your hands to do with. And then, listen, you develop yourself. You develop your voice. You develop your songs. If anyone told me that I would write songs, I would be like, please.
I know.
I would write songs that would make sense. Please, come on. One of the things that then, as soon as I began to identify what it was that worship was, then I didn't even have to pray about the writing songs. They just came.
It came.
They just came. That's the thing. You remember when I was telling you the other day on Thursday how that thing about seek ye first the kingdom of God and every other thing, know your purpose, and
everything
else will fall into place.
That's it.
Know your purpose, identify your purpose, and everything that you need. Everything that you need. People will walk into your life and want to. How can I be part of this? You don't need to beg. You don't need to. The songs, the way that they come, it is so funny. I'll be sleeping. I'm sleeping in the middle of the night, and I'm hearing. At first, I would be telling my husband, babe, there was a song that was just bubbling in my spirit. Okay, what is the song?
I know.
So, he being a writer,
I know.
he said to me, okay, when that happens again, because he always has post-its and everything by his side of the bed. He has post-its, he has everything. So he wakes up in the middle of the night, just see the light by his side, and he's driving furiously, or he's talking. So he said, okay, when that happens again, just grab a post-it and just write it down. Or easier, if it's a song or is a tune, get out your phone and just record it. I'm like, but my voice is going to be cracked. It's like, what? Who cares about that? Just get the tune. And that's what I began to do. That's what I began to do. I began to, as soon as I hear the tune, and that's how. So, on June 1st, before we forget, on June 1st, I have an event coming up. It's Unrestrained Worship. How I got that name, even that is a
another story
on its own. Unrestrained Worship. Eventbrite, if you haven't registered, it's going to be at Agape House of Worship, 239 East 1st Avenue, Roselle, on June 1st.
It's free.
From 5 to 7, and it is free. Just register. Go on Eventbrite, type in Unrestrained Worship, and you can register. And even the song, the way those songs came, I was on the train. And I just heard the thing. You are my God, the great I am. You're not a man that you should lie. I put it on my phone. I went to see Onome the other day, and from 3 weeks later, and he said, do you have songs? Now, yeah. So I said, yeah. So I sang it for him. And he said, oh, wow. And that was it. The second song, so I'm releasing 2 songs on that day. The second song, yes. It just says, and it's a part 2 of the All My Praise. I will give you all my praise because you have done so much. You have taken me from, I know where I was, I know where I am, I know a little bit of where you're taking me, and because of that, I say yes, like blind surrender to wherever we're going next, God, just, I'm in for the ride. And that's how the songs came. So I hope to see you on June 1st, 239 East 1st Avenue in Roselle, Ahau, Agape House of Worship. I hope you come and be blessed.
Thank you. And before we round up, I don't want us to go without this point that came to mind. We were having a women's fellowship at my church, and I asked that same question: how do you identify purpose? And I think it was Pastor Jimmy Rosan that came to me, and she was like, "What gets you mad?" Oof. Oh my God, that kind of just resonates. When you go somewhere, what gets you mad? What gets you unsettled? That why is this way? I just want us to, before we close this forum today, I want to help us to identify our purpose. Sister Gladys has shared a lot of experiences. I want us to also know that God uses many things. One thing is that it's coded into our DNA. I can't stop saying that. It's how you walk, how you talk, how you breathe, how you eat, everything. It's all about your purpose. So when you get to a place and something does not make you happy, something is talking about your purpose. You are there to fix it. So please, 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 I hope that after today's session, we all get a chance to deliberate on this. And, because God is a master planner.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a puzzle. And every one of us has a space in that puzzle. We're talking about saying the same thing, but meaning different things.
Yep.
It's just because there are some puzzles that will look exactly alike,
but
they
answer different questions to different people. Exactly.
So don't be scared that, somebody else is already doing it.
Exactly. Oh, I was stuck on that for a long time, for years. Somebody else is already doing it. And then I would say, what would be different about me? And even I couldn't answer that question. So other people would tell me how mine was different. I'm like, how are they seeing my vision more than me?
That's what God does.
How are you seeing my vision? How are you understanding my vision more than me? That's when I knew, okay, God was up to something.
So I don't want to take too much of our time. This is the first one, and we're going to have so many more. I'm going to have very good friends of mine. We're just going to talk about purpose, because I feel like in life, if we're not fulfilling purpose, there's nothing else to talk about. Because hey, to your point, is it the getting married? So people are so hung up on not getting married and they commit suicide. Some people are so hung up that, I've not had a child, and the life becomes nothing to them. When God has created for your purpose, did God? I'm not an advocate of bad things, but did God not give you that child for something? Right. Seek the purpose in it. God will help us. So I hope everybody was able to hear us, but. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the first forum, and I'm so happy to share this forum with everyone. And again, it could be you next. As the Spirit leads, I'm just calling you up. Even if you're in Dakota, we're going to do it two-way. So God bless you for joining us, and I hope you were all blessed. Thank you, Sister Gladys, for coming.
Bye.
I really appreciate it.
It was nice to be here.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.